Hi, welcome back to another episode of Financially Speaking with SFM. I'm Daniel Corson, Wealth Advisor, and I want to take a few minutes to discuss the buzz and fear of the US dollar demise. After a decade of relative strength, the US dollar has declined sharply over the last 6 months. This has coincided with media reports that the world may reduce the value and usage of the US dollar, along with the push of de-dollarization, which is a big word that describes a process where countries try to use less US dollars and more of their own currencies in international trade. So why the buzz? First, we need to understand the concepts of reserve currency and the petrodollar system. So what's reserve currency? It's the currency that countries and central banks around the world keep in reserve and use to buy and sell things with each other. Why is this relevant? Because concerns about the stability of our economy had caused countries to consider de-dollarization, which, if you remember, is a big word that describes a process where countries try to use less US dollars and more of their own currencies in international trade. These concerns come from our political system, issues around the peaceful transfer of power, government debt, and the ability of our government to effectively legislate. But what's the reality? In reality, the US is still the largest reserve currency at over half of global reserves. The U.S. is also a small number of currencies that meet the criteria for reserve currency status. The criteria is free capital flows, stable economies and political systems, providing relatively stable exchange rates, a robust financial system, which is liquid, transparent, and well-governed investable markets. Again, number of currencies that meet these criteria is very small, minimizing other country alternatives. The majority of the media press comes from the recent petrodollar system issues. So the petrodollar system was created in the 1970s by the United States and Saudi Arabia. The system is an agreement between the U.S. and OPEC-1, which, among other things, requires OPEC member countries to use the US dollar when they sell oil. So what's the issue? Earlier this year, Saudi Arabia made headlines when it announced it was open to selling oil in non-US dollar currencies. Furthermore, some non-OPEC oil-producing countries have been transacting in currencies other than the US dollar. And most recently, several more non-OPEC countries announced they have been discussing an alternative currency to the petrodollar. So what does this really mean? Everyone can take a deep breath, as selling on an alternative currency for oil transactions would be very challenging, timely, and would mean a large change in global politics and economies. The facts are the dollar remains the dominant currency for international trade. Outside of Europe, over 70% of exports are conducted in dollars. U.S. imports about $1.2 trillion more than we export. This $1.2 trillion gap needs to be invested in U.S. dollar-denominated assets. Currently, no other sovereign bond market is deep enough to handle this level of investment. All in all, the U.S. dollar may weaken for the normal reasons currencies fluctuate in value. For example, differences in interest rates, economic growth, and inflation rates across countries. However, network effect is very slow to move and thus see countries reinstate their confidence in the U.S. economy long before any sea change, and thus we don't see a clear-cut bear case. That wraps up today's episode. Again, if you have any questions you'd like for me to consider for a video, please send them to me. If they're not included in the video, I'll be sure to respond by email or phone. In the meantime, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. And again, it's not what you earn, it's what you keep.